December. Well, that's right. Yeah, you have one in December. You have 2 events in December.
Malaya, where
All
are
right.
you?
Where's Malaya?
Okay, she is Malaya is happy. Actually, because you did organize them also, why don't you talk?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. We do have the women's networking event for
Holiday
the
together.
holiday mixer. So we're going out for drinks. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna throw our hair back. So
What's
men,
the
if you'd like to put on a wig, you're welcome.
Date
The
and time,
date is
location.
it's on the 9th.
December 9th.
Yeah.
At the Arsenal at 5:30 starting. And yeah, so.
At where, the Arsenal?
The Arsenal.
Pico and
The
Bundy.
Arsenal
Okay.
Outdoor. It's on
Pico and Bundy.
Peekaboo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next one is we have also networking at noon, where again, the whole chamber is coming together at, we organized at Lenny's. And that will be December 16th, that Wednesday at noon.
Right. And for networking at noon, it is a more intimate opportunity to do some networking. Seating is limited, so make sure you get a hold of Barbara, email her, and RSVP with her as soon as possible, okay? All right. Do we have any other announcements? I think that's all of our announcements. Anyone, real quickly? Real quickly, yes, Molly? What's that? Oh, we do have some openings next year for breakfast sponsorships. So if you are interested in sponsoring a breakfast, we would love to have you. Gives you an opportunity to have your information on every single table. It also gives you an opportunity to do a presentation up here in front of everybody. And it's a great way to kind of showcase your business, to get people more familiar with who you are, and hopefully grow your business and even grow more referral relationships. So if you are interested in sponsoring one of the months that is available next month, please see Molly, give her your card, and she will give you all the details. It's very inexpensive. And again, it's a great opportunity to showcase your business. Okay, so do we have any people who are here for the first time? This is their first breakfast with the West LA Chamber. Raise your hand if this is your very first breakfast. Okay, well, welcome. It's great to have you. I know some folks are members and some folks are visitors. So what we do is we have a couple rounds of what we call table networking. And what this is an opportunity for you to give a personal presentation of about 60 seconds. Tell us who you are, what you do, what is a great referral for you, and what makes you special compared to your competitors. So at every table, we're going to have someone who's going to do some timing, and they are going to be in charge of timing the 60 seconds. When you start to give your personal presentation, pass your business cards around to the rest of the members. That way they can get, associate a face with a name. All right, so we're going to do 2 rounds. In between the rounds, we're going to hear from our sponsor and have a couple of other items, and we'll do our second round, and then we'll hear from our special guest today. All right, do we have any questions? Are we clear on that? Okay, so if you are the timer at your table, raise your hand. You want to be the timer, Steve, at your table? Great. Barbara is the timer. Let's see, Norm, are you going to be the timer at your table?
I don't have my phone with me.
Charles Gwynn, great, you'll be the timer. And Elham, you want to do the timing at this table? Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to set my timer. Everyone has 60 seconds for their personal presentation. Get your cards ready. If you guys are ready, we're going to begin, and I'm going to start that timer. You ready? Begin. on their table should have a little card like this. And this card is a sign-up card to sign up for the newsletter. If you want to be kept informed of what's going on in the county assessor's office and other various items of news, recommend that you sign up for this. I signed up, gosh, over a year ago now when you were here for the primary, so I've been getting these newsletters every time they come out. So everyone on their seats should have one of these cards. If they're not on your seat, it should be in the center of the table. I know there was one on every single seat initially. So if you don't have one of these cards, they're probably in the center of the table. And Steve Little's gathering up some more if you would like one of these cards. I'm sure you can also sign up on the website as well, but it's probably best just to sign these up and give them to either Mark or Carlos before you leave today. All right, so last year, December 1st, Jeffrey Prang was sworn in as the 27th assessor for Los Angeles. He comes from Detroit, raised and born in Michigan. He's a graduate of the James Madison College at Michigan State University. Those Spartans are doing pretty amazing this year, by the way. It's going to be a great year for Michigan State. He is a State Board of Equalization licensed appraiser, the vice chair of the Central Southern Chapter of the California Assessors Association, and an active member of the International Association of Assessing Officers. Now, before becoming assessor, Jeffrey served as a member of the executive staff in the LA County Office of the Assessor and also as an assistant city manager. He has served also for nearly 18 years as the mayor and council member for the city of West Los Angeles. So let's all give a warm round of applause. What's that?
West Hollywood.
Did I say West Hollywood, of course. Yes, so West Los Angeles, West Hollywood, you know, just one of those western cities somewhere out here. Anyway, Jeffrey Prang, it's great to have you here. Thank you very much. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have some notes to read from, so I'm not going to hold the microphone. But thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. I know what you're probably all thinking. There really is no way to begin, better way to begin your morning, especially at 7 o'clock breakfast, than hearing a speech from the county property tax assessor. I did learn when I first started getting into this business that, especially when you're the assessor, you should always adhere to an admonition of former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill when he said, "Don't forget, there's no such thing as a bad short speech." I try to add a little bit of humor because I am the assessor. It's not really the humorous office. But I want to start with a little assessor story. There's not a lot of them, so I repeat this one a lot. But former United States House Speaker Tip O'Neill related a story in his book. You may recall he wrote a book called All Politics is Local. And he received, in writing this book, he received a letter from President Harry Truman's secretary from the time when he was in the Senate. And it goes like this. Truman had been a county judge, but he was really more like a county supervisor. He was having a hard time getting by on a judge's salary, so he asked the political boss of Kansas City, Tom Pendergrast, for a job as the county assessor because it paid more money. Pendergrast told Harry Truman, he says, "You're not smart enough to be the county assessor. We're going to run you for United States Senate instead." And you know, ever since I was elected, my staff have been asking me why I didn't run for Senate. So as Buzz had indicated, yesterday was my 1-year anniversary on the job as assessor. And while I came to this office with a fresh set of eyes, but I had some valuable internal experience. My goal is to build an administration that values the residents we serve and the property that we assess by building the most professionally staffed, technologically advanced, and customer-friendly property assessment agency in the nation. As assessor, I've identified 3 priorities that we're working on. The first one is open data and technology systems modernization. Secondly is taxpayer access and responsiveness. And thirdly is partnerships and public education. It's with those priorities in mind that one of my first acts as assessor was to assemble a diverse transition team that was chaired by LA City Controller Ron Gelprin, and that was comprised of some of the best and brightest business and community leaders LA County has to offer. My transition team issued a 100-day report that provided some fresh perspective and insight in how the agency functions and recommended strategies to improve business operations in the office. And the transition team recommendations detailed how to increase transparency, how to improve customer service, all while making the lives of our staff easier by updating outdated technology. We've begun to implement a number of those recommendations, and we started with a new website. The website is the most visible element of our office to the public. It was critical. This would be one of our first steps. Any of you who know anything about government knows that almost any project, particularly a technology project, can take forever to get done, but sometimes a year or more. But we got this project done in my first 90 days in office. And the website is, particularly for the real estate profession, whether you're in title or financing, this website is pretty valuable. It provides information about property values, programs that will help you reduce your property taxes. It also provides maps. I'm also very proud that my office was the leading agency in the county open data initiative. This recently launched effort, which is done in cooperation with other county departments, has created a one-stop website for anybody seeking information or data from county departments, including a lot of financial data. My office has published information on LA County's 2.6 million accessible parcels, and we believe that this is the largest open data release of property data anywhere in the nation. So members of the public can now download archived and indexed information free of charge. And as you probably know, there are some companies such as Zillow and Case Shiller, they buy our data and then they package it and they sell it to you. I believe that public data should be easy to access, easy to interpret, but most importantly, it should be free. Also, as you may know, as a result of the previous recession-induced decline in values in properties, as well as changes in assessor practices that occurred in the wake of the scandal involving the previous administration, assessment appeals, people challenging their values, have been backlogged for several years. Some appeals take as long as 3 or 4 years to resolve. So one of my highest priorities is to fix the problem with the backlog in assessment appeals. If you challenge your valuation, your tax bill, you got to pay your taxes first, then argue it,
Right.
then you get your money back if you win. And sometimes if that takes 2 or 3 years, that's simply unfair. We shouldn't be holding taxpayers' dollars any longer than we absolutely have to. But probably the most significant initiative of my administration is the replacement of our technology systems. Like many county departments, we are still saddled with an antiquated mainframe, green screen technology, DOS-based system. Some of our systems date back to the 1970s. We are still, as I referenced earlier, we have 2.5 million parcels of property that are accessible in the county. Each one of those are still associated with a paper file. It's inefficient for our staff, it's inefficient for members of the public. So replacing that technology is one of my top priorities. We began to replace this old, outdated system with modern technology when we're completed in the next 3 to 4 years. It'll be much more user-focused and user-friendly, and will improve our customer service model by increasing our productivity and efficiency. And I'm very proud that in June, the Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to approve the first phase of this project, investing $20 million into what will end up being a $60 million project. This is an important project, not just for my department, but the county is riddled with these old mainframe technology systems. So we are setting the trend. If we don't do ours well, it'll saddle other county departments who want to follow us. The other thing I've learned in my year in office is that there are 57 other county assessors throughout California. We set the trend for all of them. It's important that we be successful. Our technology standard will become the state of California standard. Today, every property in LA County, the 2.5 million parcels, as I mentioned, is still associated with a paper file. But in order to move our operations forward, increase our response times to the public, we are also scanning all of these documents. And we'll be done scanning the over 100 million pages by June of next year. Another thing that we did is we are working with the treasurer tax collector and the auditor controller, who are the 2 other agencies that deal with the property tax chain. We opened up a one-stop public counter in the Hall of Administration. One of the challenges I deal with every day is 99.9% of people think that I'm the tax collector. Everybody says, I just wrote you a check. If you write a check to my office, you will be getting a 10% penalty. There's another guy, interesting enough, his title is tax collector. And guess what he does? He collects your taxes. That's not me. my office simply establishes the value. We then send that information over to the auditor, who figures out what your tax rates are. They send that to the tax collector, who sends you your bill and collects your money. So the other thing that I'm working on, and another major initiative of my office that I think will be important to small business in particular, is business personal property tax. Do any of you pay business personal property tax on furniture and equipment? Do you get that form from the assessor's office one year? It's mind-bogglingly complex. It makes the IRS long form look like child's play. If you have business personal property worth $2,000 or more, you're required to pay business personal property taxes on that. Your furniture, your equipment. The challenge is, let's say you own a $2,000 copier, we charge the same rate of property tax on copiers we do on real estate, it's 1%. So that $2,000 copier will generate $20 in property taxes. Well, it costs me more money to send out an appraiser to value that property than we're generating in revenue.
Right.
So we are losing money on a certain amount of business personal property. So I'm advocating to the Board of Supervisors that they increase the threshold for reporting to $5,000 in some cases $10,000. This will say, if you're a small business that has limited amounts of equipment, hopefully this will keep you from having to report and disclose at all. And for those who do have to report, it'll focus on major equipment instead of the minor equipment. We think will be a business-friendly initiative, but will also save my office in the County of Los Angeles a great deal of money. I've also initiated legislation in Sacramento. I'm sponsoring a bill that's authored by Senator Ben Allen, who you probably know already represents this area. This bill will close a loophole that permits mobile homeowners to avoid property taxes when they convert their mobile homes into permanent structures. This is kind of a common issue in coastal communities such as Malibu. Let me just digress for a second, because it's kind of a funny little story. Back then, they built these mobile home parks along the coast in Malibu, other places back in the 50s and the 60s. Some of these mobile homes are, you go back to the other old mobile homes that have been there for years and years. They're antiquated, but they may have a view of the Pacific Ocean. They may have these multi-million-dollar views. So investors are buying these mobile homes, and they're converting them into something like this. Now, this mobile home sold somewhere between $1 and $5 million. Do you know how much property tax they pay? Zero. They pay a fee to the state of about $20 to $80 a year. And my view is, when you convert from a vehicle into a structure, you're now under my jurisdiction, and you should pay property taxes like everyone else. So we're struggling to get that bill through. It was we weren't successful last year, which I thought was kind of interesting. Why I thought it would be a unanimous vote. Who wants to defend rich people in Malibu to keep them from avoiding taxes? But apparently there are people who think they should. So one of the last things I did in getting started as assessor, you won't know this gentleman, but I wanted to talk about him. I appointed Santos Kryman as my chief deputy assessor. He's my chief operations officer. He's important because, as you recall, my predecessor went to jail, and this office was wrecked by scandal. And when my predecessor left the office about a year and a half into his term, the Board of Supervisors appointed an interim administrator, a reform administrator, to clean up the office, and that was Santos. And when I was elected, I was lucky enough to be able to bring him back, a veteran reform manager, to come and help me get my administration started. So I think we're off to a good foot, with really good managers helping to lead the office. Now, as the assessor, my primary responsibility is simple. We locate and identify all taxable property in LA County, and we assess the value in accordance with California law. As I mentioned, there are 2.6 million assessable properties in the county, and it's valued at $1.2 trillion. The county's current budget, property taxes make up a quarter of its entire general fund of about $26 billion. Property taxes are about 5 billion in revenue. It's the largest source of revenue that the County Board of Supervisors has to spend. All the assessments in LA County are combined and published in an annual assessment roll, which is available on our website. The roll is an important economic indicator, and it's the best indication that we have on the overall state of the real estate market. Housing represents 70% of all real estate value in the county, and this year the assessment roll grew 6.13%, or more than $73 billion in gross valuation. This represents the assessment roll's 5th consecutive annual increase. The local property market continues to be on an upswing. This is a significant difference from the period from 2007 to 2010, when the Great Recession and the real estate market crisis resulted in declining assessment rolls. Since 2011, however, there have been graduated increases starting at 1.36% up to 5.47% in 2014, as I mentioned, over 6% this year. The single largest variable responsible for the increase in the assessment roll is the transfer of property. That is the sale of property or the change in ownership. An increase in the total amount of transfer value strongly correlates to a strengthening housing market. Changes in ownership added more than $38 billion of value to the assessment roll, or a net of $475 million in property taxes that's allocated to local government and education. New construction, which includes residential and commercial, has also had a large impact. New construction added more than $4.8 billion to the assessment roll, or $57.5 million in gross property tax receipts. Another indication of a growing housing market is what we call decline in value restorations. You may recall that during the recession, a lot of properties were underwater. They were worth less than people paid for them. And when property values go down, we're required to reflect those decreases. You're only required to pay your purchase price value or market value, which is ever lower. But as properties begin to return in value, we're required to increase back up to their Proposition 13 base year. Currently in LA County, there are 241,000 properties that are still under their base year value, most of them in the Antelope Valley. But due to the continued real estate market recovery, more and more of those properties are being restored toward or to their pre-recession base years. Decline in value reviews will add more than $9.3 billion to the current roll, and this is good news for property owners as they reach their pre-recession values, increasing equity that the people have in their homes and businesses. So increasing property values is a good thing. Ordinarily, when we think about property taxes, we tend to think about our property and our homes. But I think it's important to remember the crucial role that property taxes play in supporting vital public services. I always tell my staff, I say, you got to remember this. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but the assessor's office is really the most important government agency that there is. Because until I do my job, no other agency gets to do their job. And so if you think about this for a moment. Before a teacher can walk into a classroom, before a police officer responds to a call for service, before the city can come out to fix the potholes, a funding source has to be identified. And in most cases, local government means sales taxes and property taxes. So I need to do my job efficiently and thoroughly, otherwise there may be property taxes left on the table that should rightfully be collected and allocated to vital public services. My department is not a revenue department. I don't collect taxes. We don't make decisions based on revenue. We make decisions based on what is fair and accurate, but revenue is a byproduct of the work that we do. So one of the things that we do is administer those programs that help people save money on their property taxes, often known as exemptions or exclusions, and these were adopted generally by state constitutional amendment to benefit members of the public. One of the most important ones is the homeowner's exemption. If you own a home and you don't claim a homeowner's exemption, you're paying more property taxes. It's an easy program to file for. There's a program, a form online. You turn it in. We'll drop your assessed value for tax purposes by $7,000 and save you close to $100 a year in these property taxes. If you are a property owner and you want to give your property to your children, you can do so, and you can transfer your base year so that the taxes will not go up for your kids, or in some cases for your grandchildren when you leave the property to them. There's also programs that help seniors and veterans. And think I've already violated the Winston Churchill rule of giving it. But I did want to share some specific information about what's going on here in the West LA area. This year, my office found that the West LA included 28,000 single-family residences, 21,962 condominiums, 7,009 apartment buildings, and 3,900 commercial industrial properties for a total of 61,159 parcels. During the last year, we processed 824 transfers of property or sales. And since the housing crisis and the Great Recession, the local real estate market has improved significantly. For instance, at the height of the housing market in 2006, the median sales price of a single-family home in this area was $974,000. Today, I'm pleased to report that the home values now exceed the pre-recession level. The average median sales price of a single-family home is $1.05 million. The growth in assessed value for West LA has exceeded the county average in every year since the recovery began in 2001, and this year exceeded the county trend at 6.8% growth. So the total combined assessed value for all these properties in West Los Angeles is more than $57 billion. So things continue to look good as more properties are bought and sold, as new construction increases, and as property values recover their value from the recession. I'm here to be of service. So we're a public service agency. I brought a couple of people with me who are here to answer your questions. Mark Blozier and Carlos Hernandez. Where's Carlos? Right behind him. Oh, there he is over there. That are available to come to your meetings at any time and help walk you through any of the programs and services that we provide. But I want to thank you for your time and attention. It's great to be back here.
The City of LA salutes and celebrates LA County Assessor Jeffrey Frank. Your tremendous dedication and unwavering commitment to public service and the betterment of the community is much appreciated. Through steadfast ways and caring deeds, Jeffrey Prang has helped to make the City of LA a better place to live. Thank you.
You have to hold the mic in order to get in the picture. Thank you very much. Excellent, excellent. You know, again, this is an opportunity. Tell your fellow business colleagues, other business owners that you know, if they want to have a voice, if they want their elected officials to hear feedback and really get the pulse of the business community and the business needs in West Los Angeles, the West LA Chamber of Commerce is the #1 place to go. So bring them. We have a great lineup of speakers next year, and again, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for business owners to